Because I agree with what you. Yeah. So we were talking about the difference between trance and channeling. And I was saying
Right.
that there's a lot of difference of opinions on it because, and I do agree that trance has a very strong connection with spirit because we're going into a trance altered state of consciousness and having our guide blend with us, using us as their voice. And then channeling,
Hmm.
I understand. So you have some channelers that talk spirit coming through them with their eyes open, like we're talking right now.
Right.
But the way spirit channels through me when I'm not in trance is they lead me, or my guide leads me to stuff. Like I can ask a question, and then all of a sudden, maybe not that day, or maybe a couple hours later, maybe next day, I hear and them speaking to me. But I've
Right.
learned over years with doing trance to keep my mind clear a lot. My mind's clear all the time because I don't like to think and think and think and get, lower my vibration and all. So,
Hmm.
I can be sitting on the side of my bed, I can be at my dining room table, I can be washing dishes, and I might
Right.
hear something, and I'll go
Right.
Google it, or I will ask a question and I'll open a book and there's a sentence there, or I hear a paragraph or something. So that's what channeling is to me.
Yeah,
That's a part of it, yeah.
I think you, with the dedication that you put into working with spirit, and we can get into an altered state very quickly. And like you, I find myself throughout my day keeping my mind clear, as clear as I can, so I can receive those messages. So I guess what I'm trying to say is throughout my day, I am in an altered state a lot of the day throughout what I'm doing, whether it's like you're saying, doing the dishes,
Well, that makes sense.
just period, right? Throughout my day, I am in an altered state of consciousness. I'm not here. I really am not here.
So, so I do work with students that will come in and don't understand the they come in knowing how to blend but don't understand the difference, excuse me, my
Hmm.
throat is acting up, the difference
Yeah.
between trans and channeling. And I can tell when they're channeling and versus being in an altered state. I have to cough, sorry.
Go ahead, cough.
It's that time of year.
Yeah,
So
I know my nose is going crazy. It looks awful while I sit here with the tissue. They need to make tissues not white, so they don't draw so much attention.
it's so funny.
So, and I think in the States we say, uh, we use the word channeling more than they do over in
That's
the
probably
UK.
true. That makes sense.
Like tomato, tomato, right? But over in the UK, it's they're pretty serious with you know when you're working with spirit, that is being a trance medium. There's no channeling here.
I
Where
think
over
people
here,
from in the UK channel.
yeah, right? Because really,
They
but
channel. They're
they
not.
they do, but they don't like to use that word. Now, I know a lot of the trance mediums over there will say, I am a channel, right? But they say when they say they work with spirit, they're saying trance medium, that they are going into the altered states of consciousness. Totally agree with that. I would say that me personally, I am in an altered state of consciousness throughout my day, working with my loves. I mean, I talk to them all day long. I get information. I can be talking to my husband, and freak, here comes the loves chiming in, saying something. And that is because I try to stay in that higher vibration and in that just a little shift of altered consciousness throughout my day.
So, that could be the difference. Maybe it's to me, anytime spirit speaks through me, just out of the ordinary and out of the day, to me, they're channeling, they're speaking through me. They're giving
Right?
me they're
Messages.
talking to me.
Hmm.
I guess if I was speaking, it's good to talk about this. Maybe I have it. So I guess if to me, spirit could come to you anyway. We should never
Right.
uh, disallow. the flow. I mean, if they want to channel,
Right.
let them channel. They want to
Yeah.
trance, let them trance, mediumship or anything.
Right.
That's just how I see it. I'm just
Right.
some people getting a bad rap because they channel. So
Well,
that's channeling to me the way my guides speak to me. I write what they tell me. I'll get down, I'll start writing.
but the difference is you and I recognize that it is truly spirit, and that we kind of do shift into an altered state of consciousness, where some people are saying, and I know this is going to be taken wrong, but I don't care, so I'm just going to say it. Where some people will do this and start
Oh,
talking.
yeah, yeah. I got
Okay, that you are not the only thing you're not in an altered state of consciousness. Number one, because I don't know what you blended with, but that wasn't long enough to blend with anything, right? You are channeling, air quotes, channeling your ego.
or your higher
So
self.
they, right, well, right, but I would still think that it would
Depends
take
on
you
the
a minute to
message.
even get in tune with your soul. For I know it does.
Yeah.
It.
Well,
What
that
I'm
depends if you stay in a higher conscious. I don't know. I do know that blending is very important. That's all I know. Blending,
very
blending,
important.
and we should give
Right,
enough time to blend for our guide, not just have spirit right here and I'm in trance. That's not. I know.
right.
I know. I see a few people just and then talking.
Right, that's right. And so you know, I've had a wonderful mentor, say to me, when he sees somebody do that, yeah, you know, they really do think that they are in a trance state, but they are really, with their ego. So yeah, they're channeling something, right, that they believe is spirit, but it really is their ego until they learn the difference.
That
And that
knowledge
is blending,
difference
blending, blending,
that they don't
and
you know they
feeling
need.
that energy shift, right? And once again, all goes back to the basics, the foundation. What foundation are you building with spirit to get to that higher flow of energy, right? Raising
So
your
basically,
vibration
what
and
you're
then
saying.
maintaining it.
So what you're saying, so have you watched channelers like Bashar? He's great.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
That's
yeah.
channeling. That's what channeling is. So what you're
Once
with
again, he's American, right? He's American, so right.
but
So
they're
I
all
think what they use. So I think over here we kind of use that word channeling, right? And some people mean altered states of consciousness, because like Bashar does go into an altered state of
I think
consciousness
channeling is altered to a point.
to a point.
So when you were speaking, were you talking earlier, what you meant was when somebody's just saying, okay, and you'll say, blend with your guide. Like I mentored somebody and I would say, okay, you need to take at least 10 minutes, at the least 10 minutes to blend. And they would do that. And then they'd be up and talking within 40 seconds. And
Right, right, right.
I would
To
say, you have to,
where, right, to where you are, to where like if Bashar is speaking, if it is resonating with you and you can actually feel spirit
yeah,
or feel his the I hate to say alien, but to feel his right his presence there, and it's not the person, I forget his name, Daryl Anka. You know that that's not Daryl Anka's energy. You actually know that he's working with another being. You can feel it,
yeah, blending is important.
right? So that blending, I'm sure he does that before he even comes out on stage,
Mm,
um,
I've
right?
seen
Because
handlers channel. I don't, I personally, some of their messages are nice, but I'm just not into the channel, that type of channeling. So I
right,
gather. So the good thing about the conversation is I got out of it that I am channeling when during the day and they're speaking to me, but I'm more into a
it's
semi-alter state. I'm not sitting here going talking and talking.
right, right. It's just a lighter state. It's just a,
Yeah.
how
So
we have different
also,
stages of that altered consciousness, right?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're just in a
Oh
lighter
yeah,
stage of it.
yeah. I mean, I can be watching TV and they'll talk to me, but it's really funny because
Oh yeah, me too. They'll be watching the dang program with me, you know, and I'll hear them say a cheeky little comment, and I'm like, oh boy, right? But I think it's because we have worked so long with spirit, and I call it my Happy Gilmore place. I am really comfortable in that altered state, um,
yeah,
because I really, and this is part of my lesson that I came here to learn, is to be here and learn and really learn my lessons and not be up there with them, right? They're constantly telling me, balance, child, balance. Yeah, I get it. Right? From the time I could remember, I didn't want to be here on this earth. I really wanted to go home. It was like, I don't want to be here. Right? So I'm having to learn to really, this lifetime, I've had to learn to be grounded, right? And not to be in that altered state. I don't, but it's one of
well,
my
what you need to
lessons.
do, what you do is you just have to keep it when we heal and we stay into a higher conscious way of being, is we have to remember our energetic field and cleanse our chakras. And if
Right.
you study what
And
each
I,
chakra represents and what each chakras, um, what's the word for it? What each chakra does for us. Like for
right.
example, if your sacral chakra is off, it's if you have childhood trauma, even with your root
Oh,
chakras,
yeah.
any chakra, but if you have childhood trauma, say from certain years with your root, certain years with your sacral, you don't heal it, you're not going to have a really good connection.
Oh, yeah. And I constantly make sure that that closet's cleaned out, right? Because there's all kinds of stuff that you have to go back there and say, ooh, did I forget to clean that out? Ooh, yeah, let's address that, right? Because anybody who's had childhood trauma, uh, part of how they survived it, right, is, and I hate to say this, but it's true, is they would, how they survive it is they blank out, right? They go into I won't even say altered state of
You're
consciousness,
talking
but
about
they
while the
kind of,
trauma is happening to them.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. While the trauma is actually happening, they leave,
Yeah, some people do.
and that's the way that the
But
brain copes with it, right?
yeah,
So then there's a lot of things that some people don't even realize, right, until they get
oh yeah,
older.
until they get
They're
older.
like, oh wow, I didn't realize that affected me, or right. And it's usually they call it triggers. I hate to use that term, but they'll, something will trigger them, and then they realize, oh, that must be something I blanked out of my childhood, and I need to go back and address, right? So somebody who has had
And
severe
sometimes it's
childhood
not
trauma,
even a blank out. They just know it and they haven't dealt with it. And it constantly eats at their brain.
right,
And a friend that
and they
I
don't know why,
hooked up with on Zoom
right?
a couple of days ago, she called it trauma brain. It makes sense, don't it? If you're
It
in,
sure does.
so sometimes I wonder if some of the the new ones coming out and trance or channeling, whatever it is they call it, if it's really because of their trauma that they're doing this so fast, it's kind of like they're trying to keep their mind busy, busy, busy. Anyway,
Hmm.
I like purity of spirit. That's my point. I want to be. I'm so. I want to work with the purity of spirit.
Right.
Yeah,
Now, so explain to people who are listening what you mean by purity of spirit, right?
the pure.
Like
I want
the
pure
essence, the
spirit.
essence of
Yeah,
spirit,
the essence. You can feel their essence.
right? Their energy.
Yeah. Just have
That
spirit come through us through pureness.
pure, right?
I'm starting to realize so much more how how they evolve as we evolve, and they start. If you connect to your guide really, really good, you'll start feeling the pureness of them, and you'll start hearing
Right.
more of a pure, what's it called? Pure communication from them.
Right. And not only that, but you get to really know the essence of them. How do I explain this? Like sometimes no words need to even be spoken. That's what my loves will tell me. Because I'll say, how come you guys aren't talking as much? And they say, just feel into our energy, child, because sometimes no words need to be spoken. And so I've done that with them. And I just get so overwhelmed with this purity of love that sometimes it's too much for me to even handle, right? Because it's just so pure when they come on in and they're trying to show me who they really are. And it's like it's almost too much of an emotion, and I get what they're meaning by that, right?
Yeah.
Just feel into who we truly are. None of our lives really mattered. They did for the time and the place, right? For their own lessons to learn and to help others along their journeys too, right? But when they cross over and they go back to who they are, it's this purity of love, depending on where they're at, right? On
Well,
the other side.
yeah, their persona there, when they come through us and they come in mediumship, like if your loved one came to you through me in mediumship, he would come as what has himself as here on earth,
Mm-hmm.
because that's who you recognize him as. When you go home, you'll recognize him as who he was before he came here with that persona. So
Right.
that's my understanding of it. We're not going to hang up there and still have these personalities when we go home. We'll have a persona of it, but we'll have
Right.
some it's in our DNA somewhere, imprints in our genetics. I
Right.
don't know how to explain it, but I know what I'm talking about.
It's the right. It's the soul's, like I say, your well, they taught me your soul's energy. It's your soul's energy, basically, is what they're saying. And it's like what they show me is we take who we are, right? Who we've come to be to this point every lifetime, and we take and learn certain things that we wanted to, right? A theme for that lifetime. And then that makes us kind of who we are in our energy.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, like you're saying, like I would recognize my son or my grandmother or my mother because I knew them so well in this lifetime. But we've had so many lifetimes together,
Yeah.
right?
But
That
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
the thing is okay, let's just say you had somebody that was in your life that was very abusive, and they were mean and terrible, maybe even, molested people, kids, or robbed banks or did things of this nature, and they came through, right? And that way, that's not who they are anymore.
Right.
They're
Like my
not like
mother, we had a horrible relationship. She was very abusive. We did not get along, right? That didn't mean
that.
I didn't love her. But when she crossed over, she came to me and we had a great talk, right? She apologized and I got it. I
Yeah.
actually figured it out. It was a light bulb moment. I get it. You had to play that role so then I could learn this and vice versa. And she is like the best mother now, right? We get along great in spirit to
Right.
human. And because I realized the role that she played and how it was needed so I could learn the things I needed to learn in this lifetime. And that was a huge light bulb moment for me. Huge. So everybody, I guess what I'm saying now, from that I learned, everybody who has been abusive or whatnot in my life who didn't play a positive role, I'll say, I thank them, truly thank them, because I've learned so much from them.
Yeah, good for you. I don't
So
yet. I mean, I'm through it, but I'm not thanking my husband, my first husband, for almost killing me. You know, just I'm not. I am over it. I have no business. I
I
don't
get
even
it.
think
I get
him. I know nothing.
it. Right. No, I get it. I get it. But you know, I just
But
saw
if he came
the
through, I'm sorry, but
yeah.
if he passed away, I mean, he's passed away. If he came through for healing, I would accept it. I would
Sure
then,
you would.
sure,
Sure
because
you
I'm a
would.
people and I know. So I get all that, but they are not who they are when we go home. We're not. It's our
Right.
humanness. So they come to us
Exactly.
the way we will accept them.
Right.
Same with our
Yeah.
guides personalities. They come to us the way that our mind wants them. But at home, they're pure. My son's more pure now than anything. So I know, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. I totally know what you
makes
mean.
so much
Yeah.
sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes, totally get it. Like my son was talking to me before we signed on here as I was sitting here, and uh, he was telling me just kind of what we're talking about now, that mom, we are energy over here. And because I was saying, man, these eclipses are really affecting me energetically. And he said, mom, don't you think they affect us over here? And I was like, urge? What are you talking about? And he says, we're energy, mom. Don't ever forget that. We are pure energy on this side. So don't you think that energy, if it's affecting you, right, it affects us as well on the other side. I was like, oh my gosh, that's huge, Austin. And he goes, you need to start thinking bigger, mom. He always corrects me, mom, you need to start thinking bigger, which that made total sense to me. And we're always talking about how their energy on the other side, they are. So that makes sense. It just makes sense. Just because they're in a different dimension doesn't mean that energy shifts don't affect them as well.
Well, no, I've never heard that one, so I don't know. I can't I can't elaborate on it. I don't know. I I don't know. I just know what was shared with me. And that's back to channeling. I think that when we do the panel trance mediums, that's a good one to bring up because I just realized that's how I'm learning what I'm learning through the electronic field when they are using our energy and electronic energy that's coming through
Mm-hmm.
technology that we use to show themselves now and to get a safer way of transfiguring over our face. They're working with energy. So I'm starting to, that's where a lot of it's coming from.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's stuff that I would never ever make up. I mean, because I don't know anything about it. So when they give me this
Right.
information and I write it down and I Google it, I'm like, holy cow, because there's so much that
I love it when they do
I
that.
know. And it'll make no sense. But I wrote it. I wrote it. And I hear write it, write it. But see,
Yes.
a couple years ago, I just was like, what? I don't. It's like that's
Yeah.
before when I was still thinking, what is this? And then I started realizing
Right.
I'm teaching. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they will teach us all the time if we will actually pay attention, right? It could be through a TV program, it could be through a conversation, it could be through a book, it could be from a street sign or a car driving by that's got something written on it. If we pay attention, there are signs everywhere,
Yeah. That's what I always tell everybody. It's pretty cool.
right? I think so. Like when my son was telling me that, I asked him, what are you doing over there? Oh, he's checking out Orion's Nebula. I was, what the hell is that? I had to Google it. I don't think like
Where was
that.
it?
So I know that that's my son talking. And he wasn't into stuff like that when he was here. But
Yeah.
when you cross over, right, you go kind of back to who you were as well, right? Your soul. So I guess he's interested in that
Well, they also
kind of
come
stuff.
over here and leave a certain time and they go back and teach what they've learned here.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you got a lot of the physics and stuff that are here and go back and they work over there to create stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. If you were a So kind of how they've explained it to me is if you were a scientist in this life, right, and that was your passion, like my husband, he's a musician, that when he crosses over, he will probably do something in music over there.
Yeah.
If you were your passion was a scientist this lifetime, right, it probably was in several lifetimes before as well. So when you cross back over, you will go.
Oh no, but if I come back, I'm gonna say, Rich, no drama. No, I don't believe in them. Don't like the material world. It'll help you get through it. No drama. None of that. I want to learn through love and wisdom.
Right, right. That's true, right? I must have said, yeah, give me three shitty husbands, a couple karate kids, yeah,
I
because
think
we were
this is where free
standing,
will comes in. I
right?
think that's where free will comes in. Like someone told me about what's going on, what we spoke about with my photography, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
With the people that backstab you and things, it's their journey. Well, would they go up there and say, "Well, I want to go backstab"? So basically, it's not really that. To me, it's their journey that they've chosen at this time, not when they were there, not when they were home. It's now. No, I don't believe. I think this is where free will comes in. I really believe if I have the choice to do this, this, and this right now, I'm going to have, I'm going to put my free will in it and make that choice. So if I have a choice to maybe be mean at this moment, I even have a choice of reacting to a situation in a negative way,
right,
that is my free will and my choice. I don't want to do that, but my
right.
point is that when that's being done, there is choices to be made. It's not written
Oh
in.
yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, it's
I agree with that to a degree.
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so to me, every little detail in our life is not written in a book. It's just not because
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, you have a theme. You have a theme. I think that like basically like school. I want to come down and I want to learn this and that. So just like when we go to school here, right? We want to learn this
yeah,
and that
if you
in this
take your
grade.
free will and do it in a lower vibrational way, let's just say, versus a higher vibrational way, that's your free will. Which one are you? So you want to learn, you
Right.
got to this point, what are you learning? You keep doing the same thing over and over. So where's your free will?
Right. At what right. At
It
what
comes in and
degree
making
do you want to
choices.
learn?
Yeah.
Right. But
Tricky.
so like
Tricky.
when we go to school, right, we can still be brats, right? We're still going to learn
Yeah, but
science, but are you
yeah,
going to get an A in that class or are you going to get a passing D? Right?
like you
And
have,
some of
yeah,
that is your behavior and how much are you willing to learn
right.
said science.
You have
Mm-hmm.
people who are, for example, who are have addictions, but they don't have to have that addiction. It may not be in their journey to have that addiction. They have free will to choose that. They have
Right.
free will to
Mm-hmm.
choose which path they want to take at that
Mm-hmm.
moment. So that's
Right.
my point. So you're going to come across this in your lifetime and you're going to have free will to choose.
Mm-hmm.
It makes more sense.
Totally. Yeah. Totally agree with that. You
Huh?
can choose to handle things with grace, right? Or you can choose to be a total asshole. It's a choice. Your behavior is a choice.
The way that you live your life is a choice. Well, to a point.
Right.
Sometimes it's not.
Right.
I want
Right.
control.
Right. Yeah. It's all, I think all is true, right? Or you can finally learn to take an observer role and step back a little bit and just kind of observe for a minute and then react.
I know spirit
That's
will handle stuff as long as you do the right thing. I know, but there's sometimes I just gotta speak my
road
voice.
rage.
That is something I have an issue with. I'll stop the recording now, and we shall.
Okay. Bye, Betty.